If you are a video creator in the US and looking to try out Wondershare's Filmora 14 video editing software, you should pay attention as this will impact you. I have experiences as a US customer of Filmora that you need to know before you spend $1 of your money or 1 minute of your time on Filmora. I've been a Filmora user and customer since Filmora 9 in 2019. I have a free lifetime upgrade license to all Filmora upgrades. This lifetime license is no longer available to newer customers. It was discontinued a few years ago. With the release of Filmora 14, US users need to know more about Filmora as a business and how they operate, not just the software itself. Why do I emphasize US users? It's because I, as a US-based English-speaking user, I've had lots of struggles over the years dealing with Filmora, which, at the heart of it all, is Chinese-made software. Filmora is owned by Wondershare, a Chinese software company. Wondershare markets themselves as a global company and makes several software products. Filmora is their flagship product. Wondershare claims to have 6 offices with 1,200 employees. However, I only see 5 office addresses listed on their website. Wondershare lists 3 Chinese offices, one in Shenzhen, Changsha, and Beijing. There is 1 office listed in Tokyo, Japan, and 1 office in Vancouver, Canada. Most notably, there are 0 offices in the US. There is no official Filmora presence in the US. If you are a US user or live in a country where English is your primary language, the first thing you should know that when you deal with Filmora or Wondershare customer support, you will be communicating with Chinese support staff where English is a second language. I cannot say strongly enough that English is very much a second language for them, and it can make your life very tough and challenging when dealing with Filmora issues. Although there are Filmora support staff who are reasonably proficient in English, it doesn't take long before you realize you will be communicating with a bunch of customer support staff using substandard English. If you use American slang, colloquialisms, or idioms, many of the Chinese Filmora support staff either won't understand you or they will misunderstand you. I almost always have to communicate in proper English. But even then, customer support responses are often frustrating and infuriating. I frequently have to repeat the same things in a different way or rewrite my email so that they can understand. In my experience, it's rare to get a quick question and answer when dealing with Filmora support staff. I often have to remind Filmora support staff to read earlier messages. Many of them ask redundant questions that was previously answered in the same email thread in same support ticket because some are too lazy to read through the earlier messages. When they do copy and paste answers, their images and screenshots don't always come through in the response emails, which is also very annoying. Sometimes Filmora support staff can be overly patronizing, but I can say generally that most of the support staff is polite and respectful despite miscommunications. Nowadays, I do my best to never contact Filmora customer support. Even when I report a bug or technical problem, I know it means extra work and effort for me because almost every problem I bring to their attention, they ask for a video sample, and I have to go out of my way to do this for them. Sometimes I am just not in the mood, but sometimes you have no choice if you encounter a show-stopping bug. This leads me to my next gripe about Filmora. If you become a Filmora customer, you should know that you also sign up to become an involuntary beta tester. Filmora is always adding or refining new features in Filmora. And while that certainly sounds great on the surface, what it really means is that they are forever using their users as their beta testers to report bugs and complaints. I certainly don't consider myself an advanced user, but there are certain features I pay attention to and use. I know when they aren't working correctly. Every time Filmora adds new features, they inevitably change or break something else. I've been through 4 major version upgrade cycles, and every one of them has caused me some level of upset and aggravation. Even with a specific version such as Filmora 13, Filmora is always adding and refining their features. They are also killing bugs with each update. The updates are relentless. It seems that every few weeks there is always some update. update. I can tell you it's pretty rare that you go through an entire month of using Filmora without an update notification. With Filmora 14 just released, I can tell you I am not looking forward to the next cycle of updates. I am sticking with Filmora 13 for now, simply because I know I will be in for another frustrating update cycle when I upgrade to Filmora 14. For now, I just want to use Filmora without worrying I am going to run into some glitch or bug I didn't expect. When I upgraded from Filmora 9 to 10, it was a horrible experience. Upgrading from Filmora 10 to 11 was also a horrible experience. There were so many support emails during that period of time. The upgrades from Filmora 11 to 12 and from Filmora 12 to 13 were better and less painful, but I still caught bugs and felt like a beta tester. I've enjoyed the relative stability of Filmora 13 the last few months, and I just don't want to deal with new bugs or updates. Most of the kinks in Filmora 13 have been worked out. I can say that Filmora 13 is the best version of Filmora they've ever made so far, and I'm just not looking to rock the boat just yet. However, my cat Lexi is willing to rock the boat. She asks you to swipe that like button to help spread this video to other US Filmora users. And as a special bonus, she gets a special treat if you also hit that subscribe button. The next gripe I have is Filmora's never-ending quest to try to monetize and milk more money from its user base. Filmora incorporates new features but then wants to charge you to use them. To be fair, there were new features that customers once paid for but became free later after an upgrade. For example, Silence Detection add-on was the only paid feature I ever felt compelled to pay for when it was first released in Filmora 10. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Silence Detection feature, Filmora gives you the ability to quickly remove dead air in your raw video with a few mouse clicks. It's an awesome feature which saves hours of editing time. Silence Detection was innovative at the time, but competitors have offered similar functions as part of their product offerings now. I was pleasantly surprised when Silence Detection became free in Filmora and became part of the core software. This is one of those cases where Filmora added a nice feature without making its users buy usage credits or an additional subscription. This leads me to my next gripe, which I want to cover, which is their long-standing film stock subscription, which is now called Filmora Creative Assets. These creative assets include optional sound effects, music, animations, and visual effects, which is easily accessible from within Filmora. Filmora comes with a basic set of creative assets to get started, but they really try to push and entice its users to pay for its film stock subscription. It's gotten a bit obnoxious how heavy-handed it's become. Filmora has aggressively tried to push its existing user base towards subscribing to film stock for as long as I've owned Filmora. The subscription price was all over the place. Sometimes it was cheap, sometimes it was expensive. It changes from year to year. Filmora used to sell creative assets that you paid once and used forever, but a lot of that disappeared in the last couple of years, including the ones I bought. If you want creative assets to stay with you forever, the only reliable way is to purchase your own assets separately from outside Filmora and then keep them on your computer. Filmora does underhanded things without telling its users. Assets you once had access to often disappear. They hope you don't notice it, and when you do notice it, they try to minimize the issue and give you a token apology and maybe short-term access to film stock. In Filmora, almost none of the assets you use is permanent. Nothing is forever on Filmora. They have the right to remove any asset at any time, and they never tell you. You upgrade your Filmora software, and then one day you realize assets you once had and used before is suddenly gone, and you can never get it back. It is especially stark when you change your computers. Last year, this happened to me on some business assets I bought, which was supposed to last a lifetime, but was suddenly gone. I complained loudly and forcefully because this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I was really pissed. I started researching alternative video editors to escape the Filmora ecosystem. I was going to produce a scathing video and post it here on YouTube and on social media. I had had enough of this nonsense. But apparently my angry complaint emails were persuasive and forceful enough. A manager intervened and managed to cool me down, and we were able to hammer out other gripes gripes I had. In prior years, I've largely been an involuntary subscriber of Filmstock. I got suckered into a subscription for a few months very early on, but I didn't know what I subscribed to and lost my money. I've dabbled with the Filmstock subscription infrequently, but only if the price was sufficiently low enough to justify. A short-term Filmstock subscription has often been used by Filmora as their apology to me for various complaints I've made about their software and the way their business operates. I accepted them only because there was nothing else that Filmora had that I really wanted. I am a reasonable person and I've never made crazy demands that actually costed Filmora any money. Filmstock, the Filmora Creative Assets, is the only product that I mildly have any interest in. Filmstock and the Filmora Creative Assets contain a lot of juvenile, goofy, garish, unprofessional effects and animations. They mostly cater to a different audience I am not part of. I have to dig pretty hard into their asset library for something serious, professional, and age appropriate to use. I've had to stretch to find assets I could accept or incorporate into my videos. Filmora has a poor track record in pricing stability and their subscription offerings. In my view, many of the Filmora assets being offered have an Asian culture sensibility and generally don't fit with American culture or audiences. As a US-based user, it's hard not to pick up the heavy Asian influence of the Filmora assets. And the ones that do fit American culture, they tend to gravitate to a juvenile sensibility, not a professional adult one. Finding decent professional assets for American professional sensibilities is a challenge in the Filmora ecosystem. It's not their core audience from what I can see. Camtasia, on the other hand, cultivates a business and corporate user ecosystem, but then you have to go all in on Camtasia. They also have their shortcomings and disadvantages, which is why Camtasia isn't my primary video editing software. For most of this video, I have been criticizing Filmora. These are long-standing complaints I've shared with Filmora, which I believe goes nowhere. It's clear to me they are a very large company. By Wondershare's own account, they have 1,200 employees. I assume most are Chinese or at least of Asian background. That means they will never agree or understand the sensibilities of US users. It's something all users will have to cope with. But with this video, perhaps Filmora management will listen more. I don't think they're serving their US users well because they don't understand American culture and sensibilities. From what I can tell, and this is only a guess, Filmora has at least 1 million users worldwide. Based on their marketing, I believe they primarily skew towards younger and juvenile users. Filmora seems to target the youth influencer market and their sensibilities, and that seems to be the way it's going to be for a while to come. I haven't left the Filmora ecosystem because I have invested a lot of time and effort in Filmora. Filmora 13 is also the best video editor I've ever used. It's user-friendly and I've gotten really used to it. Honestly, despite all my complaints, I do think Filmora makes good, easy-to-use video editing software. And when it works well. It certainly doesn't hurt that I was lucky enough to buy their lifetime license when they offered it. That is a big incentive for me to stay with Filmora for now. Remember, Filmora is Chinese software made by a Chinese company staffed by mostly Chinese employees, where English is a second language. Until Wondershare and Filmora change their ways, US users should always remember their secondary place in the Filmora ecosystem. Last thing, Filmora or Wondershare, if you are watching this, I ask you to listen and do better to take care of your US users. It is my wish to stay a Filmora user for many years to come. Thank you for watching, and I hope this is the last video I ever have to create regarding Filmora and their business practices.